Thank you. So today we'll be starting with Act 3, Scene 2 of Tempest. This scene takes place again on the island. As I told you that all the scenes will take place on the island except the first scene, which takes place in the sea, on the ship in the sea, right? So what is important about this scene? This particular scene, it leads to the development of the subplot, leads to the further development of the subplot. Now, the subplot involves which characters? The subplot involves is related to Trinculo, Caliban, and Stefano, right? In the last scene, we talked about Ferdinand and Miranda, right? And their love story. The last scene dealt with the love story of Ferdinand and Miranda. So it was a romantic scene. And now, after that, we shift to a comic scene between Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo. What is important about the scene is that here a lot of things are told about the character of Caliban. You will come to know a lot of things about the character of Caliban, right? So the deceitful quality which he has, he was working for Prospero, right? Prospero did so much for him. But in this particular scene, what will happen? He will plan the murder of Prospero along with Stefano and majorly Stefano, right? Trinculo is just with Stefano, so he will also be involved. But he plans to kill his master. So what does this tell us? That he was not a very loyal servant, right? Maybe because of his blood, because he was the son of Sycorax. So you cannot expect any kind of loyalty from him. You remember we have been told earlier that Miranda and Prospero, they tried to train him. They tried to make him into a civilized creature. But then he fails to learn anything useful. Though he learns language, but then he starts using that language to abuse Prospero, right? He doesn't make any good use of the language which he learned from Prospero and Miranda. So this scene tells about the deceitful quality of Caliban. And what do they do under the influence of alcohol, right? How do they behave under the influence of alcohol, right? Caliban, under the influence of alcohol, Caliban takes Stefano to be his master. He thinks that because Stefano possesses such wonderful drink, right? Such great drink, so he is very powerful. He mistakenly believes Stefano and Trinculo to be powerful, mainly Stefano, right? So he believes that he is very valiant, he is very brave, and he is very powerful, and he will be able to kill Prospero. And so he even agrees to become his slave. Why does he agree to become his slave? See, at one point he wanted to own that island. He wanted to be the ruler of that island. And now he agrees to become slave of someone else. Why so? Because his brain is not functioning properly. He is heavily drunk, and so he wants more of that drink. And so to have more of that drink, to have more of wine, to have more of alcohol from Stefano, he agrees to this fact also, that never mind, I am ready to lick your shoe. I am ready to be your slave and servant throughout my life. And you will become the king of the island. So the only thing which he wants at this point is alcohol, right? So these are the important things which we come to know, right? The nature of Caliban, and we'll come to know about Stefano also. Stefano also starts believing himself to be the king and the owner of that island, and he takes Caliban to be his subject, and Trinculo also, Caliban and Trinculo to be his subject, right? So these things happen in this scene. So let's start. The scene takes place. See, one more important point which is highlighted in this before I start, I forgot. There is a use of parallelism in this scene. What is parallelism? Means two similar incidents take side by side. At one place, Antonio and Sebastian were planning the murder of Alonso, right? And at another place, Caliban and Stefano and Trinculo, they were planning the murder of Prospero, right? So this, you can say, what we learn from this scene is that morality was evaporating from the world. Why do they want to murder these people? What is the reason behind this? Behind these conspiracies which take place in the two different places? Two different places between in two groups which are not actually connected to each other. They are not aware of each other's conspiracy, right? What was the reason of Antonio and Sebastian planning to murder Alonso? What was the reason? That hunger for power, right? The same reason is here also. What is the reason for Caliban and Stefano to murder Prospero? What reason do they have? Possession of that island, become the ruler of that island, become the owner of that island. That is the reason. So again, hunger for power, right? So we come to know that they were living in a time where morality was less important than ambition, than power. If people were given a choice between power and morality, they will opt for power. So this particular fact has been brought about by Shakespeare in this scene, that there was nothing known as values, relationships, and humanity left. And that situation is prevalent today also, right? Very much prevalent. If you are given an option between morality and power, obviously most of us will go for power, right? So that is known as that is the use of parallelism. The scene takes place in another part of the island, and who all are present? Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo enter. Stefano says, "Tell not me when the butt is out. We will drink water, not a drop before. Therefore, bear up and both. Servant master, drink to me." So Stefano says that, "Tell not me. Please don't stop me from drinking till the wine is finished." But means wine. Till the wine is finished, you're not going to stop me from drinking. I am going to continue this drinking till the time wine is there. As long as wine is there in the bottle, I will go on drinking. I'm not going to stop. And only when the wine is finished, then you will ask me to have water. As long as there is wine, I will only have wine. I will not take water. I'm not going to consume water. I will only drink wine. So you are not going to ask me to stop it. We will drink water, not a drop before. So not a drop, not a single drop of water I am going to consume before the wine is finished. Right? Therefore, bear up and both. So let's go ahead. So let's continue this drinking thing and let's go ahead and bow them up. Means let's solve the bottle. Take the bottle, hold the bottle and move ahead. Let's drink. Servant monster, drink to me. So servant monster is a reference to Caliban. He refers to Caliban and he says that you, servant master, you drink to my health, right? They do not, they cheers and to your health, to your success, to your well-being, for your family. So that is how they do. So he says, now you please, this drink to your health. To my health, rather, Stefano says, that servant monster, please, let's drink to my health. Trinculo, servant monster, the folly of this island. They say there is but 5 upon this island. So he says, this servant monster is really the most foolish person upon this island, right? Servant monster is for Caliban. He says that he is a real fool of this island. They say there are 5 upon this island. Then Trinculo further says that I have heard from some sources that there are 5 people upon this island. 5 creatures, 5 humans are there on this island. We are 3 of them, and 3 of us are standing here, right? Trinculo says that there are 5 people on this island, and 3 of us are here. If the other 2 be brained like us, the state daughter, and if the other 2 also will have their brains in the same condition as we have, right? He is very well aware of the condition of their brain, right? So he says that 3 of us are here completely intoxicated and in an inebriated state. So if the other 2 who are not here, if the condition of the brain, if the condition of their brain will be the same as us, as our brain, then the state totters. Then this entire state means this kingdom will become very shaky. Why? Because what will happen when everyone in the kingdom will be mad and crazy? It will fall, it will start tottering, it will become shaky, right? So that is what he says, that then the state will totter. If the brain of the other 2 who are missing from this group is also the same, is also in the same condition. Stefano, drink, servant master, when I bid thee. Thy eyes are almost set in thy head. So see, he will not talk any sensible stuff. Why? Because he is not in his senses. So Stefano says, servant master, you are going to drink only when I command you, only when I order you. Then only you are going to drink. See, that this Caliban must be craving for more and more drink. He wants to drink more and more. Right? So that's why Stefano says, servant monster, don't drink like this. You will drink only when I will permit you to do so, only when I will allow you to do so. Then only you are going to drink. They say, sorry, thy eyes are almost set in thy head. Your eyes are almost fixed in your head. See, eyes are naturally fixed in our heads. So he says that your eyes are almost fixed in your head. Trinculo, where should they be set else? So Trinculo dots and he says, where else do you expect the eyes to be? The eyes are going to be fixed in your... See, Stefano's comment was on the way Caliban was looking, right? The way Caliban was staring, right? The eyes, they become static when you are drunk, right? You just look at one place and you go on looking at one place only, right? So maybe he meant that. But Trinculo says, where should they be set else? Means where else do you want the eyes to be? The eyes of every human are set on their heads only. He were a brave monster indeed if they were set in his tail. So he says, where else do you want the eyes to be set? But it would have been really very wonderful if his eyes would have been in his tail. Right? So then he would have looked even more wonderful. Wonderful means strange, right? Unusual. So he would have looked really very unusual if his eyes would have been in his tail. Stefano, my man monster had drowned his tongue in sack. So Caliban was sitting there quietly. He was not talking anything. He was not speaking anything, right? So Stefano comments upon him and he says that my man monster has drowned his tongue in sack. Means he's so drunk that he is unable to speak, right? This influence of alcohol upon him has taken his speech. That is what he says, that he is drowned. He means he has lost his speech by being drunk. His tongue in his sack. His tongue in sack means his tongue in wine. Right? That is what he says. That because Caliban is not talking, so that is why Stefano says that he's so intoxicated that he is not able to speak. He has lost his tongue in wine. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. He says, and look at me. As far as I am concerned, even a sea of wine cannot drown me. I'll be absolutely okay even if I drink the entire sea of wine, right? Then also I'll be very much in my senses and very much normal. I swam ere I could recover the shore, 5 and 30 leagues off and on. He says that I swam here. I just swam for how much distance? That is the distance. That is 5 and 30 leagues. 5 and 30 leagues means almost 35 leagues are swam, and 1 league is equal to 7 miles. League is a unit of measurement, right? Measurement of distance. So he says that I swam almost 35 leagues. Off and on means more or less, approximately, right? I swam approximately 35 leagues to come to this island, right? By this light, thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard. So now he says, now he is considering in that state, crazy state, he is considering himself to be the owner of the island, and he appoints Caliban as his lieutenant. He says, now by this sun, by this light means by this sun, right? I promise you, the sun is the witness. This light here is a reference to sun. Thou shalt be my lieutenant. Now I am making you my lieutenant. You will be the lieutenant of my army, monster, or my standard. Or you can be the flag bearer also. Flag bearer, you know, the person who takes the flag of your kingdom. So, or you'll be the flag bearer. Standard means flag bearer. Trinculo. Your lieutenant, if you list, he is no standard. So Trinculo is mocking and making fun of Caliban, right? So he says, your lieutenant, if you list. If you list means if you like, if you really want, I have no objection, right? I'm no one to object. If you really want, you can make him your lieutenant, but no standard. But please don't make him a standard. A standard means a flag bearer. Please don't make him a flag bearer. Why? He gives the reason later on. Will not run. Why does he say so? That don't make him as your standard flag bearer? Because he's so drunk that he will not be able to walk properly, forget about carrying the flag, right? So that is why he says that if you want, you can make him the lieutenant, no problem. But please don't make him your standard or your flag bearer, because he will not be able to walk. Stefano will not run, Monsieur Monster. He says that, and we will not run away from the battlefield. You are my lieutenant, and we will fight the battle. We are not going to run away from the battlefield. Monsieur means Mr. Trinculo, nor go neither, but you will lie like dogs and yet say nothing. So he says, forget about running. Trinculo again interrupts and he contradicts Stefano's statement, and he says, forget about running, not go neither. You cannot even walk. Go here means walk. Forget about running away from the battlefield. You cannot even walk away from the battlefield, right? Your condition is such that you will not be able to walk properly. Forget about running. Leave alone running. But you will lie like dogs. So what will you actually do? You will just lie there like dogs on the ground and yet say nothing neither. And you will not be even able to say anything, utter anything. You are so intoxicated. And you are talking about running? Not possible. Because you are drunk. Now, the time is up. I think we should stop here and we'll continue tomorrow.